Hey guys! In this video we will paint a romantic composition that I call the Swan Lake. Before getting started, you can go ahead and download the color palette, brushes, texture overlay image and a sketch file for the swan in case you need it. The download link is in the video description. If you like these YouTube videos, please check out my Patreon where I share even more tutorials and Procreate brushes. You can find a link to it under the video as well. Without further delay, let's begin drawing! The canvas size is 2500 by 2000 pixels. Let's go ahead and change the background color into this one from the palette. After that, I will select this color on the right, along with monoline. I'll set the size to 7% and draw an oval like this. Wait in a second to make the quick shape tool work. Let's fill it. And to transform it, I will be using Liquify tool. I'm making the size 48% and pushing this side. Let me make it smaller to fix this edge. Then I'm making it bigger again and pushing the right edge this way. Note that pressure value is at 100% and distortion is set to none. Finally, I will flatten the shape on the sides at the lower part. Let me also drag this area a little to the left. And that's it. I will draw a small shape here on the side, same as we did in the Exploring Girl drawing. I'm filling it. And since we are making a romantic illustration, let's draw a heart shape on this side. Or even two of them. This is the first one. I'll fill it and draw a smaller one on the side. Also drag the color into the shape to fill it. The background shape is done, and now I want to start drawing a swan. For that, I'll create a new layer, pick white color from the second row, and I'll make the brush size very low, like 1%. I must say that it's not the first time I'm drawing a swan. I did it many times before. But if you try to draw with me and find it difficult, you can download the sketch and paint over it. I will start from drawing an oval for the head. With an angle, like this. Let me fill it. And I will adjust the shape using Liquify again. I'll push this side a little and then flatten it on the right, like this. And widen it on top. Let me narrow it down here. And this is a perfect shape for the swan head. Let's continue and draw a neck. I'll make a curve like this. And another one on the right. The head and the neck together must look like a half of a heart on top. Let's draw one more curve going to the right. And then close the shape. I'll make it flat at the bottom. After that we can fill this shape and I'll erase this line. If it didn't turn out well at your end, you can adjust the shape using eraser, brush, transformation or liquify. When you are satisfied with the shape, next step is to create a layer above the current one. Pick this light violet and draw a wing. I'll start somewhere here and draw an arc at the same level or a bit higher than the base layer, with this curve at the end. And from here I will add more curves for the feathers, like this. Here I'll draw a bigger one, and then a smaller one in the end. Then we should connect the edges with an arc. We can edit it if needed. Make sure there are no gaps. And fill the wing with the color. Now let's create a layer below the swan shape. Pick white color again and draw another wing on the opposite side of the body. I'll fill it, and after that we can add smaller details, starting with the beak. So I'm picking this light orange and creating a layer above this one. Let me move it a bit closer. And to draw smaller details, I'll prefer using Studio Pen from Inking set. The size is at lowest value. Let's draw a slightly curvy line like this. And another curve will go up this way. It has this complicated shape on top. Let me fill it and see. It's fine. Now I'll create a layer between the beak and the base layer. Select this violet, and with the same brush I will draw another shape. On the right I'll make a line from here. Then it'll go upper and make this loop for the eye. Here I will mirror the beak shape, and on the left it will be something like this, going a little outside the head shape. Let's close the invisible part and fill it. I'll fix it quickly, and we can continue adding more details. I suggest we draw the eye to bring the bird to life. For that, I will grab this color in the middle of the second column, and we better do it on a separate layer above this one. First I'm drawing an oval, and I will edit it, make it more round, and follow the angle of this dark shape. Let's fill it. After that, create one more layer. Change the color into a darker one, and draw another oval like this. I will also edit it. And fill. For shading, I will go to this layer and alpha lock it. Select soft brush from airbrushing. Make the size very low according to the shape size, and opacity is not full. I'll darken the outer edge. When it's done, I will go to the layer above and also alpha lock it. For it, I will pick this light violet. Make the size tiny and add a highlight like this, not pressing on the pencil. Then let's grab white color. Create a layer on top. Go to luminance and select light pen from there. The size is at 7%. And I'm drawing this tiny circle for the light reflection. Let's make it bigger and draw another reflection on the opposite side. Now let's select the darkest shade on the side. I'll merge the layers for the eye. Go to layer number 6 and alpha lock it. Changing the brush to soft brush. Making it full opacity and the size at 3%. I will shade the lower half of this area under the eye. Let's lower the size a bit and draw here. Then I'll make it even smaller and shade the right half of the shape in the middle. Alright, I'm going to the beak layer now. And here I'll create a new layer that I will clip. Go into the color palette to select this orange. In the brush library we need to find painting set, from which I will pick Nick Rule brush. I'll set the size to 7% and opacity to 75%. Let's shade the upper edge slightly and paint on the right half of the beak. I will lower the size to draw a line here in the middle. Let me paint this part of the beak, keeping some gaps and texture. If you feel that you painted it too much, we can set eraser to same brush, make it like 3% size, and remove the color. After that, paint again with a smaller brush size. This way we got sort of a highlight on this side of the beak. Well, we just finished shading the details and we can proceed to shading the swan. Let's merge some layers so we don't get confused. This can be located on one layer, and I'll keep the remaining ones separated. Let's go to the layer with the wing, create a layer above it, and clip. Select white color, go to water brush set, and pick wet sponge. I'll make the brush size 2% and start painting on the upper half of each feather, making them a bit curvy. Due to wet edge of this brush, it feels like painting with watercolor, and we are getting this fluffy look. I will paint the bottom edge this way entirely. Let's make the brush full opacity and bigger size and paint this angle. I'll make it even bigger and paint more this way. Well, I think I will paint more on the feathers to make these gaps between them smaller. Just like this. Once we are done with the wing, we can continue shading. Let it be this main shape. I'll be shading it right on this layer, but we need to alpha lock it first. Let's pick this light violet. I'll lower the opacity to 70% and paint on the right side of the neck and also the area under the wing. I will make it full opacity and paint more here. Go a little up on the neck. I'm lowering the opacity again to blend the colors a bit. After that, I'll pick white color. Paint on the chest. Then lower the size and increase the opacity to max. Adding this light on the right edge. I want this one to be mostly white, with subtle shades of violet. Now let me go back to violet color. I will lower the opacity and paint on the left side of the head. If it's too much shading, we can always pick white and paint over. After that, I'll go to selection and in freehand mode make an arc like this. Here it may go anyway because the layer is locked. I'll just pick violet and define this edge of the head. To make it darker, we can make the brush full opacity. After that, let's pick white and paint on the bottom edge, like this. We can deselect once it's done. I'll add more white color at some areas. And we have the last small part left to be shaded. It's this one. Let me alpha lock it, grab violet from the palette and add this shadow on the lower part of it. One more thing I want to do is go to the layer with the wing. Merge these two. And using the smudge tool set to soft brush, I will go along the lower edge of the wing to soften it. We did it! The most complicated part of our drawing is complete. We can merge all the layers for the swan and duplicate it. Go to transformation, flip it horizontal, move to the left, and I will change it a bit using distortion. I want their heads to be very close to each other. Alright, let's merge them now. I'll center the birds. And after that we can start working on the background. First of all, let me alpha lock this layer and repaint it into a darker shade. I think it looks better with this contrasting color. After that, I'll create a layer above it, pick this color, and this texture from my retro underwater brush set. You'll find the brush in download bundle, and the entire set is available at my Patreon. Both brush size and opacity are at maximum. I'll just paint all over the canvas. Let's set the blending mode to overlay. Then go to transformation and pick distort. To add perspective to this water texture, I'll drag these dots to the sides. Even more. So we have bigger particles on the front, and the size is getting smaller behind the swans. It looks fine to me. I'll duplicate this layer. Alpha lock this one. Select this light color and fill the layer. Let's change the layer's blending mode to lighten. Then click on this arrow and I'll tap a few times above the canvas to move the texture slightly up. Let's clip both layers to the background layer. And we can try to merge them. I will lower the layer's opacity to make the texture less intense. Let it be 50%. I'll go ahead and create a layer between these two. And it will get clipped. Picking this dark shade and soft brush from airbrushing. Painting on the upper part of this shape. If you need better blending, you can apply gauze and blur on it. For me, it is fine. So I'm merging these layers. And go into the swans to duplicate them. This layer is already alpha locked, so I'll just pick this dark green on the right side and fill this layer. I'll change the layers mode to overlay, unlock the layer, go to transformation, flip it vertical and move it down like this. After that, let's go to adjustments, and this time I'll be using motion blur. Select layer and sliding vertically down to around 45–46%. I'll clip this layer to the layer number 1, then create a new layer above, pick white color, and studio pen from inking. Let's set the size to around 7%. I'll draw a few ovals under the swans. This is the first one. Then another one. That I will also edit. And maybe one more oval here. Then I'll pick eraser set to soft brush and erase the ovals partially. I'll make a stroke through the center and then erase some lines on the sides. I'll put these dots on the erased lines for some variation. Alright, let's leave the swans for now and create a new layer on top. I'll pick this dark color and draw a rock here on the water. Fill it and adjust the shape on the sides. I'll make the bottom more round. Then create a new layer above and clip it. Let's change the color into the darkest one from here. Go to Brushes and find Industrial Set. I'll select Wasteland from the list. I'm making the size big enough for better texture and drawing on the right side of the shape. Let me make it a bit smaller. Alright, after that I'll create one more layer with a clipping mask and select this light shade. I will set the layers mode to color dodge and paint with the same brush on the left side. When these two colors are overlapping, the resulting mid-tone looks very cool. I will lighten some parts a bit more. After that, I'll go to the base layer of the rock and erase its lower edge with soft brush, like this. Let me actually distort the edge a bit and make it more round. Now I will duplicate this layer, click on this one, repaint it into this dark green on the side. Then I'll go to Transformation and flip it vertical. I'll move it down, but not like this, only halfway or a bit more. After that, open Adjustments and pick Motion Blur from the list. I'll drag it vertically down, same as we did for the swans, around 40%. Let's set the layers mode to overlay. And I'll only merge the base layer and layers with shading. Let me select these two layers and drag a bit down so the shadow is behind the swan. Then I'll lower the opacity of the shadow to 78%. Let's do the same with the shadow under the swans. Also 78%. And I will create a layer between the rock and its shadow to draw these circles on the water. For that I'll pick white color and Studio Pen. So I'm drawing them same way. The brush size is at 3%. I'm drawing these ovals, waiting a second to make them perfect, then editing. And I'll draw one more inside. Also edit it. Then pick Eraser, set to Soft Brush, and erase the central area diagonally. Also some parts on the sides. Let's select these three layers and group them. I'll duplicate the group and move one of them to the left. Then I'll go inside the group and select only these two layers. Click on this arrow, select Freeform, and I'll make this rock narrow together with its shadow. I'll place it here, and we also need to change these white circles. I'll scale them in freeform mode, like this. And this element is also finished. Next we will add a few water plants. In the color palette, I will select this light orange. Let's close this group. Create a layer above the swans, and I will draw a heart-shaped leaf here. Let me make the brush size bigger and draw a curve like this. Then I'll draw another one above it to get a heart shape. Let's drag and drop the color inside it. I want to make this tip sharp, and I'll use eraser for that. Okay, now it looks better to me. I will shade this plant. And I'll be doing it on a separate layer that is clipped. The color is this orange, and the brush I'll use is the one from Procreate Textures that is called Dove Lake. Let's set the size to 27% and add this texture all over the leaf shape. Then I will lower the size and paint more on the edges to darken them. After that, create one more layer above and also clip it. Go back to the previous color and Studio Pen. Let's draw this pattern inside the leaf. Here comes the curve in the middle. And then these smaller curves on the sides of it. I will change the blending mode for this layer into soft light. When it's done, I'll go ahead and merge the layers for this leaf. Then I'll pick this orange, create a new layer, set the brush size to 9% and draw the stem like this. I'll make two arcs and paint this gap between them. Well, let me go back to this layer and I will adjust its shape a bit using warp. That's better, but I need to fix the stem too. That's it. Let's duplicate the leaf. Flip it. Scale. And place it here. I better transform it in freeform. That's fine now. I think we could lower the opacity of these big circles. Alright, we are very close to the end of the video, and you can totally improvise while adding more plants on the background. I'll be using my retro stamps. If you want, you can use them too. Before that, let's merge some layers. And I'll create a layer under the swans. Pick this dark green and this stamp of a water plant. I'll tap somewhere here. Move it. And maybe let's try to flip it. I will put it here. Alpha lock it. And shade it with this dark color using Dove Lake brush from Textures. Painting on the lower part. Then go into Pick Eraser and select soft brush for it. I will erase the lower tips, like this. Duplicate the layer. Paint this one into dark green using Fill Layer tool. Flip it vertical and drag it down this way. Let's set this layer to overlay mode. Unlock it. Erase the upper part. And if we click on the arrow, we can transform it in freeform mode. To make it narrow, let me now go to Adjustments and select Motion Blur, sliding down to 42–43%. After this effect, I will place the shadow so that it matches with the plant, but they don't overlap. I'll also set this layer's opacity to 78% as other shadow layers. What we have left is to add these white circles on the water that look like ovals to us because of perspective. You already know the algorithm, so you can do it without my prompts. Maybe you have a question why I decided to draw swans and not some other creatures. Well, the answer is simple. St. Valentine's Day is coming soon, and swans are considered to be a symbol of eternal love and loyalty, so they fit this romantic topic, I think. Maybe I will make another drawing for Valentine's next week. Something simple and cute. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. So I'll draw the last circle. Erase the center again using soft brush. and some of the lines. Like this. Let's select these 3 layers and create a group for them. I'll move this group a bit down, so it's not overlapping with this rock. After that, I'll duplicate this group, flip it, and drag it up. We need to place it below the rock in the layers list. Then I will select the plant together with its shadow. Open Transform menu, and I will change the shape in freeform mode. I'll make it thinner and shorter. Now let's also change the circles a bit. I'll flip them and transform in freeform. The left side is done at my end. I think with groups it looks more organized. It would be even better if we named each group, but I don't want to spend time on it during the video. Okay, I think I will add another kind of plant here. For that I will pick green color again, create a layer below the swans, and pick this stamp. I'm tapping here, flipping it, and I will make it smaller. Let me find a good place for it. Maybe somewhere here. And I will move the hearts a bit. First select them, then click on arrow, make them smaller and move to the left. After that, I will also move the plant this way. I just want the hearts to be fully seen, so I did all those manipulations. It's okay now. I will alpha lock the layer to shade it with this dark color and using Dove Lake brush. Applying it at the bottom. Then I'll create a layer underneath, switch back to dark green, and set the layer to overlay. Let's grab soft brush. I'll make the size 2% and draw the shadow going down, just to fasten the process a bit. We should also draw these white circles. Using Studio Pen. And 2 will be enough. I will erase them with soft brush. I'll do it in the opposite direction. And move them to the right. Let me check it from distance. Well, let me do this. Go to the layer with the swans, create a layer above and clip it. I'll grab this violet in the middle and soft brush. Draw this shadow at the bottom of each bird. Like this. And on this one. After that, go to Swans, get eraser, that is soft brush. Make the size low and erase the lower edge just a tiny bit, like 1 mm, not more, only to soften it. Alternatively, we could use smudge tool for that. And here comes the final touch on our romantic illustration. I'll go to the top layer, then to Actions, and I will insert the texture overlay image from Files. You need to pick Insert a photo if you have it downloaded to your iPad as an image. It will be pasted like this. I will rotate it 2 times, then click Fit to Screen. Turn snapping on, switch to freeform, and I'll drag these dots in the middle up and down until the edge is highlighted with yellow. Now let's alpha lock this layer, pick light orange from the palette, and click Fill Layer. I'll set it to overlay mode, and this vintage texture contributed to our romantic Swan Lake illustration. It is complete now. If you like this tutorial, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and tag me in your Instagram post. You can also find links to my Facebook group, Patreon, and other accounts below the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.